While we're waiting, as always, any questions, burning questions from what you guys have learned? We went through a lot, right? That when addressed will just eliminate a blocker that you have exponentially pushing you forward. Anything like that before we get into it? And as we're waiting for more people?
I just wanted to say,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just wanted to say, apologies for not having my camera on. I've been homesick with COVID this last week. So while timing has been great to be able to spend some time here, I've been not particularly well. So everybody else looks very glamorous today, though. But yeah, not so much on my end. So, but that's just a FYI why my camera's been off. But I have been definitely participating very quietly on my own. Just wanted to let you guys know that.
Oh, no worries. Well, thanks for pushing through with COVID. I know that's a doozy. Well, thank you for being
Unbelievable. But what can you do? Anyway,
yeah.
all good.
Yeah.
I'm on the mend.
Cool. Yeah, Rena, I think you were about to ask a question.
No, I was gonna say your information is very straightforward. It helps a lot. And then the way you structure it is it's like simple words, but it's like easy to understand and implement.
Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. When I was creating this, I was like, how can I make the most impact in these 5 days while just being straight to the point? So the feedback is tremendous and allows me to get better. So thank you. Thank you. Um, Maybe one more minute, and then we'll get started. I have some exciting things to share, and it compounds on what we've learned. So you guys can take actionable steps. But again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. Interrupt me. Be like, Jordan, I don't know what you're talking about. No worries. Let's dive into it. Right.
Did you go to Orange Theory today?
Um, no. I we were celebrating my wife's birthday yesterday, which is actually today. She's like, it's my birthday month. I was like, okay. So we were hanging out with the fam. The kids don't have school, so we stayed up till like 12 hanging out, and my kids are 4 and 2.
Oh.
So went to bed at like 1, and then I go to Orange Theory at like 5 a.m. so I can like just, be there and present. But it wasn't a factor at all today. So yeah.
Which class do you do? Like,
I think well, I've been going for a month, and it's like all different classes, but I know I signed up for Hell Week is like the next week, so I'm doing that. So yeah. Do you do Orange Theory?
no, I've considered it though. I like Pilates and like yoga.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I like it because it's 5 a.m. and I get up, go to class, and then I get home before the kids are up. So yeah.
Sets the tone for the day.
Yeah. Just get it out of the way. Yeah. Alrighty, guys, let's get started. Hey, Samuel. Glad you're here. Morning. Let's go ahead and get started, right? So you guys, I'm our core group. You guys have been here, so this will be even relevant to you guys. But before I get started, am I sharing school?
Yes.
Cool. All right. So I'm going to give you your plan that compounds on everything to generate an additional 30K at your clinic. Precursor, this is what I did, right? So I have full confidence for the people who have taken the challenge like every day. And if you've missed a day, I know it's okay to go back and refer. All the recordings are in the challenge section now, right? So you guys can refer back to that, but you have essentially everything that I did when I first became a CMO of our clinic to hit these numbers and beyond, right? So we're going to go through that. Lisa, I'm going to mute you just 1 second. If you have any questions, yeah, no worries. Feel free to unmute, but it just helps me teach, right? So your plan to get an additional 30K, I should say a month at your clinic, right? And I say that because that's what we did. I'm just going to do this. Right? Because that's what we did, or I should say I did. At this point in the challenge, you have my initial plan, right? Just to show face of where we're at currently in our clinic. We just broke like 73,000 like last week, right? And a lot of it compounds on what you guys have learned on this challenge. It's a screenshot, right? So it's a weekly. What you don't see is like the columns towards the left, and it's weekly. But I just wanted to highlight the revenue wise, right? It was, I don't want to say slow going up because we've only been in business for like a year, a little bit more than a year, but we had the foundation to grow pretty aggressively, right? And you guys have that here in this 5-day challenge. So here's your plan, right? You guys already know the plan, right? And this is what I did, right? So if you haven't already, complete the brand activation offer, right? Before I move on, and because I've done it, right? I was talking to actually Samuel about this yesterday, where it's like when you're a master of your craft, you tend to like discount things um, that I perceive as easy. Now I'm going to ask you guys, right? And this is for you, right? For you to get the value, for the people who have been here like the whole 5 days. Any context that I can give to completing your brand activation offer that you don't get, right? And I'll pause here because even though it's like, oh yeah, I'm just writing down my story, there's a little bit more to it, right? So I just want to emphasize that. So anything that you were confused about, or like, hey, this doesn't make any sense, or even why am I even doing this, would be beneficial, I'm sure, to anyone watching the recording or anyone here on this call. Anything like that? No? You get why it's important?
Yeah, it helps build like the pillars of your brand and also of your core like philosophy. So when you're talking to somebody, you have something to like stand you up on.
Mm-hmm. You're not wrong. Yeah, those are correct. Anything I always like to do this with my team, like anything else, right? Dig deep, right? It's like asking the same question. Anything else that you can think about
As far as benefits of it,
for you in the growth of your clinic? Yeah.
I mean, it really again shows where did you start from and where you're trying to go.
Yeah. 100%.
So
Anything else like that you guys can think of? No? That's okay, right? That's why you guys are here.
Okay. Okay.
just
Okay. I'll get a little bit honest here.
Yes, Lisa. Lisa.
uh, well, I mean, I mean, I'm in I'm in a bit of a crossroads actually. We started out we've been around for a long time, and
Yeah.
I haven't, when we moved into, my background came from some medical aesthetics at a very corporate level,
Mhm.
and moving into the aesthetics, I haven't jumped in 100%, right? So we're doing what I have been calling soft aesthetics. So the stuff that's a little bit gentler, not painful. So we can bring our very established day spa folks
Mhm.
into the med spa arena gently. And that means that we don't offer all of the solutions that a typical med spa would be offering, right? So we
Mhm.
don't do injections, for one. I would if we found the right relationship with the right injector, but I also feel that that's pretty specialized, and and it needs to be the right fit with the same philosophy, etc. And so I've left that to the people who are really good at that. But we don't have all of the solutions, and so I guess knowing from my experience that there's so many options that could get the same result, i I guess I'm a little, I guess I'm not as I don't know if the word's confident. I guess I don't want to oversell something that the reality is that unless you're going pretty hard on these types of services, for guests, they're really not going to see the results. And I think that that's what I've been seeing. So I feel like I don't want to overpromise. So I think I undersell. And, because everybody's results are different. And because I have other services that I can offer them in the spa end of it, I kind of feel like I'm underselling a little bit, or maybe just, there's a lot of really good people out there that can do a lot more than we do. And I know and maybe you guys feel the same, like not every spa or not every med spa can offer all of the services. Not everybody does fractional lasers, for instance, or CO2 or whatever. And we know that guests can get good results with other treatments elsewhere. And so I guess I'm struggling to find where we compete in the marketplace. So when we talk about a brand identity and where we're at, that's I guess where I'm finding my biggest struggle is identifying what sets us apart, knowing that there's so much out there that people could be doing.
That's a great question. And actually, I'm going to include this into the course because I think so for context, Sammy, you and I are talking like, hey, when you've been doing something in repetition, it's like easy to like not remember what you've done. So this is one of those things, right? So I'm going to add on to the course. Great question, Lisa. So when you were describing that to me, I was thinking about product market fit, right? Has anyone heard that term before? Yeah. And the reason why I was asking this in the first place, like hey, any questions, right? Or why is this important? Is, you know, when you're doing like the brand activation, the 101, we're starting to paint the picture as we are the offer, right? What you have to give, your unique mechanism, right? You guys have heard me say that. I don't want to put too much on that because for the people who have been here, it's like a broken record, right? I keep on saying it. I think you guys get it. But I think when you were speaking, Lisa, and then feel free to, add on top of that, when you were telling me that, usually when I coach, like a big blocker in terms of like those 4 blockers that we talked about in the course was like, I'm at a standstill because there's, like you said, there might be other people doing it better than I can, and I'm just trying to cast this wide net. Is that how you feel, Lisa? And did I interpret that wrong? Just want to make sure that I can guide correctly what I'm about to say.
Yeah, I just think that there's lots of people who there's lots of places out there these days that can offer some really great options. So where do we fit in that? And
yeah,
what makes us different might not, to be fair, might not give the absolute best results that I could refer them to someone else that could do that. Like I could refer them out. I could easily talk about Botox. I could easily talk about doing more advanced med spa treatments. But for what we offer, where do we fit in that? And how do we create that without underselling? Because we can get some great results, but
let me ask you, Lisa, just for the sake of this to really help you out. I'm gonna treat this as a 101 right now, and then we'll go into the stuff, and then I think it'll help out everybody. What do you believe that you can do? So I'm gonna ask questions to get context for myself so I can guide. Who's the dream client? So of the exercise that you've done, who is that dream client, and what do you believe that you can achieve for them?
So the dream client that I identified was a woman who is actually a little bit older than probably what would be beneficial, but is now in her 50s, men too, that are looking to be refreshed, but really want to do it naturally. That they're not they're looking to be they have the disposable income. They generally go to spas, but they're not looking for that next level. They're looking from, just product-based facials. They're looking for better results, not necessarily, but not delving into the fully into kind of a med spa experience. They still want to stay where they're trusted, who've been around for a while. They have the money to do it, but they're not looking for extreme results. They're looking to look better, but they don't want to, it doesn't necessarily want to be painful. And they're not looking, they're looking to kind of stay in the spa realm. And I may have identified the wrong target. I feel maybe.
Okay. Well, that's a just separate thing,
Yeah.
but we can move forward.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm taking some notes here. Older, they have money. They're not looking for extreme results. They want to look natural.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's your unique mechanism? What do you believe that you can achieve for them?
So we have the ability to deliver better results with the technology that we have in a very comfortable environment. And our unique selling position is that we still treat them with the same experience they would get in a spa environment, but with advanced services that would fall under the Medi Spa realm, but they're still getting treated like it's a luxury experience.
Is this regenerative aesthetics that you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, we do lasers, radio frequency. Generally, if it doesn't hurt, we look at it.
Okay. Okay. And what position do you usually take with your marketing?
So, we have used a lot of internal marketing, and I have done a fair number of paid ads along the way. Sometimes they've been
I'm gonna
effective.
pause there.
Oh, sorry.
What types of paid ads?
So meta ads that I've
Uh,
been doing myself for the most part.
what's the creative like?
Not great. I mean, it's my creative, and I'm not a marketer.
Yeah, no,
So,
well, yeah, no
right.
worries.
So,
Well,
I
I guess
mean,
what I'm asking is like, what's shown? Is it a male, female, older, younger?
yeah.
What's on the
So,
creative?
yeah. I mean, so I've learned a fair amount about what my creative kind of where it needs to be. It's not video. It is basically what I can do with the Canva
Mm,
Pro, coming up with. I went for brand recognition mainly that because we're established, we've been around for 20 years, so we're established in the neighborhood. It's reminding people that we're there. And then we do a lot of our conversions in the business when people are physically on site. That's where we've been doing a lot of our conversions, but and which is
okay,
great, but not sustainable.
got it, got it. So there's a couple things here, and if this was a one-on-one, Lisa, true one-on-one, I would slow things down, but for the sake of just this challenge, I'm speeding up a little bit, so
Yep.
bear with me. Yeah, so but I think it'll help out everybody here in this stage of the challenge. So here's what I can see just based off the limited amount of data that you've given me, right? So you want to attract older people or older individuals who have money that are not looking for extreme results and are wanting to look natural, right?
Yeah.
To me, right, anything that takes a form of education, you do need to build that connection, right? It's one of the three main C's of building a clinic, right? So there's a couple of things that you told me that are just not adding up in my mind,
Okay.
right? So you said brand recognition, but you're only selling in clinic. Does that make sense? There's a
I mean,
discrepancy there.
there is. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, right. So here's the hard truth. I told you this. I was telling this to Samuel yesterday, right? Because we had a one-on-one. It's fresh in my mind. I told him, I was like, hard truth, no one cares about us. No
Yeah.
one cares about us. So we have to like communicate what's in it for them, as opposed to like, putting up like, here's our brand name. Don't you want this? Does that make sense? And it
Yeah.
reminds me of someone who's also in the premium group that just joined. They're also targeting the older demographic, and they partnered with an agency that their cost of acquisition is crazy for what they're doing. And it was a discrepancy of their content that they're promoting to the psychographics of the older demographic. So here's what I can say is if you're truly marketing someone for the older demographic, and one, you're telling me once you get them into the clinic, you can sell them, which is the whole goal of the authority funnel anyway, right? We're not building those connections top of funnel is what I can see. Obviously, there's more into it. I'm just fast tracking this for this minimal
No,
amount.
you're 100% right. Yes,
Yeah,
the relationships are being built well
right,
after where we need to
right.
be.
And quickly, I'll say this, and then I'll move on to the what we had today, right? But I think it'll help you specifically. I just I am we're working with a national med spa franchise for BHRT, male and female. And, our first hypothesis was just like pure value, right? Pure value. And it was a great script, but it wasn't converting as well in one specific location because the person talking was younger, right? So our hypothesis was this: oh, there is a discrepancy between who is talking. So you can think about that as your creative, right? Because I know you're not doing video, but it's on the same vein. That person talking, be like, oh, this isn't real. This won't work. This is probably not going to work for me. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
The second that same script, but older individual, we cut cost per lead drastically. And it was like, to give you context, it was like CPL in the hundreds to CPL to $10. Craziness. So this is why I always harp on like, hey, the first point, like maybe you fast tracked it. And if you did, let's go back to it, because this is the type of stuff that will help you convert. Because in this day and age, with ads, especially on Meta, it's not the targeting anymore, it's the content. So hopefully that quick one-on-one helped you, Lisa, and everybody else listening.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think what resonates is that it's content now. And I was pretty great at targeting, but my content wasn't, my content was pretty generic. So I mean, and not video. So I've never done a video ever. Like I can't even figure out how to. So obviously that is something that I need to focus on. If I've learned anything, is the videos where it's at.
Yeah. Well, glad you're here to learn more about video.
Great. Thank you.
Of course. All right. So going back to that, right? So complete the brand activation offer, right? Build your authority funnel 1.0, right? I'm gonna, oh, you muted already. Yeah. So build the authority funnel 1.0, right? And it kind of plays into what we were talking about with Lisa, right? Is once you complete the brand activation, you get that one of one. Now we start to create the content, right? And I'm going to go into more on these. Do the actual rule of 400 plus 50, right? Like legitimately, like I've helped scale many of my own businesses and other businesses just by acknowledging the truth of we're not following up enough, right? We're not following it up enough on the leads that we're generating. And if we are not getting either, I tell this to our front desk staff, if we're not getting a yes, no, or don't call me anymore, we are doing them a disservice because they are interested. It's just, we're conditioned to not like salespeople, which we are, right? Even though we like to think that we're not. If we have truly something special to give in our local community in terms of like serving our dream outcome, getting them to, look more natural in a way where we know that they won't look unnatural or have frozen face or whatever, then we have a duty, so to speak, to reach out to them. And from a business perspective, if we don't maximize each and every one of those leads, and if you really look at your own, if you have a CRM, right? If you really look at it and it's not dispositioned as closed or D&D, and most of it is just like sitting in the ether, you've burned your own money. That makes sense?
Yes.
Right? What is not talked about, especially for people that partner up with an agency, right? Is they just focus on vanity metrics and like, oh, we got cost per lead at $5. I should know. I was one of those people until I was actually an actual CMO of a clinic, and I'm like, oh, dude, what I was doing sucked. Right? This is why I started this stuff, to like rectify my wrongs, like when I first started. So typically clinics don't have a lead problem. It's a building connections in the middle of funnel problem, right? Because if you really look internally, I'm willing to bet a lot of you listening to the recording have a plethora of leads in your database, especially those who started like in, 2020, where it was super easy to generate leads and book appointments and have them show up. You know what I mean? Now it's very evident that we're just not building those connections enough to maximize every single one of these leads. And that's truthfully one of the biggest components to the success at our own clinic, right? Any questions on that? No?
It's just so darn hard to do all that.
Yeah.
Time, again, running your business, seeing the clients, documenting, taking pictures, following up on messages, making calls is just all too much. But
Yeah.
it has to be done. Like there's no
Has
other,
to be done.
you have to work and carry the 3, 4, whatever hats, because that's how you start.
Yeah.
Have to be above and beyond your competition.
100%. 100%. Yeah. Here's what I like to think. I was like, if someone else has done it, why not me? You know what I mean? I thought that when I was first starting out my journey, and I've worked with a few solo practitioners where it's same boat. Like I have 2 kids, I don't have time. It's like, well, yes, but here's what I would recommend, right? Let's do something that most clinics won't do so we can profit quicker than they can, and we'll reinvest back into the business and slowly get back your time. I don't want you to stay there because if you stay there, you'll crash and burn. And why even do this? We became business owners to get back our time, not work crazy hours, right? But in order for us to achieve something that most people can't ever achieve, we have to do the things that they're not willing to do, right? And as true CEOs, right? A true CEO and business owner doesn't do multiple hats, right? But they wear multiple hats at first. They're the person who's generating the profits. They reinvest back into the business and then they build out the systems to get them out of there. And then a year from now, you're, I don't know, sipping a Mai Tai in Hawaii or something, you know? All right. And then consultative based sales, which for the people that missed the call, I think that was pretty productive, right? The consultative based selling. This is the exact things that I take our client coordinators through, right? So I'm going to reiterate these because people have been in the challenge, right? How to guarantee you win. Oh, actually, you know what? I missed this. The plan that took us to 300K a month in 1 year. Am I sharing my spreadsheet or no before I continue? Yeah. Okay. So here it is, right? So we started off with 4 services. Here's my methodology. I was like, hey guys, let's take action, right? Do more of it, then do it better, then do something new. Inherently, we're starting a new clinic. There's a lot of competition around us, especially for semaglutide and Botox. Let's test out everything because we don't know what will work, right? Because if we are truly the offer and we're leading with value and our unique expertise is part of that offer, we have a hypothesis, right? And if we do things like everybody else, if we might get some initial profits or sales. I wouldn't call it profits, but we might get some initial like dopamine rushes, but it's going to be a race to the bottom, right? And what do we truly want as a business in a clinic, right? Like, do we want to make some quick like sales, or do we want to make this like one of the best in our area where there's like literally no one that can compete with us? The latter, right? So, we took and we emphasize imperfect action because I believe there's no mistakes. There's just, oh, I've learned. So here's what I learned. So started off with Botox, semaglutide, IV, hydrofacial, right? These were the ad spends that we did from July of 2023 to December of 2023. This is not just monthly. Does that make sense? Right. So these were the leads that we generated, the bookings, the sales that we did in 6 months. And if semaglutide looks a little crazy, it's because we had repeat, right? So we're counting that. But here's what I looked at, right? On the other executives were like, oh man, we spent 47 to generate 238. That's great. You know what I mean? We generated profit. Me having a marketing background, I'm like, yes, great, but I don't want to stay there, right? We were generating on average, 6 months average was like, 40K a month, right? Which is not bad for like 6 months in. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not bad. But I'm trying to get, I got 2 kids. They got to eat. Right? They got to eat. So I was like, all right, factoring in everything that we know, right? All the blockers, everything like that, right? I want to address those, but let's get baseline metrics to scale because if it's not tracked, it's not measured, right? And we want to scale. So, cost per lead, cost per booking, obviously, but most importantly, cost of sale, right? And I know what you're thinking because of the 4 blockers, hey, don't we have to factor in content, calls? Yes, 100%. But cart before the horse, like entrepreneurs are notorious for like shiny object syndrome, like AI, something else, without actually building the foundation first. Because those tools are great, but they should help you build on top of the foundation. Does that make sense? Right? So it's like, okay, cool. In the 6 months, it costs us $23 to, I guess $24 to generate a Botox sale, right? And I kept that my style is like taking perfect action. So, you know, we didn't necessarily track like, oh, is it uh, mommy makeover package where it's like X amount, right? It was just a number of sales, so we can just begin to take a step forward, right? I don't want to be stopped in our tracks, be like, let's get to the analyticals of this, because that's where like things are like, are when people like think about that, it's you get stopped in your tracks. I wanted to push forward aggressively, imperfect action, just to have a North Star to point to. Does that make sense? So I'm like, all right, 24 bucks to generate a Botox sale, right? What do we want to hit? 100K? Cool. Let's now we have the plan to scale on demand with predictability. So what the plan is, guys. Let's so we have a budget, right? We had a budget for all these 4 things. Look at the return on Botox and semaglutide. Oh, that's pretty substantial, right? So for this push, let's keep on pushing IV and hydrofacial on a cross sell, but it's very evident that people are coming in for Botox and semaglutide. So let's put majority of our budget towards those things to establish, you know, our worth and our stamp in our local community. Because what this will do tenfold, right? Now that we have the cost to bring in like 1 client for both of these things, we're getting them in my volume. It's very evident that they're coming back for semaglutide, right? So let's stack it. Let's stack it, right? We can on demand with predictability scale based off our revenue goals, and we have more chances for our client coordinators to practice our consultative based selling. You guys know about that. And we have more chances for our semaglutide nurses and just our staff in general to ask for Google reviews, which is a component of us generating 1,000 Google reviews in 1 year. It's a compounding effect. More often than not, many clinic owners are siloed in like, oh, cost per lead, boom, 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 right? But in the whole grand scheme of things, how does that play into the whole plan of profitability and making a stamp in our local community as to we are the best, or at least one of the best in terms of the services that we provide? Does that make sense, guys? Yeah. See people like nodding and smiling. Any comments for the 2 people that cameras are open?
Well, I just thought I'd mention again, like that's great that you were getting such sales, but you were so, I guess, spending so much again on ads. And so it's again, like I
Well,
guess the more you spend, the more you can get back.
yeah. Well,
But
yes. Like this is our clinic, but again, I've worked with solo practitioners that were doing 30K, that were doing 3K a month on ads until they were doing 110,
yeah,
right? So it's the same framework. I don't want to let me just sprinkle it. Yes, we are aggressive on our ad spend, but we earned it, right? So like now we're
Of course.
spending like $17,000 a month on ads, not including everything else. $17,000, right?
So
So, go ahead.
what a, I guess a profit margins of 30-40% from, I guess, quote unquote, really ad spend be
Mhm.
good in this case? Like is that like the target? Start big and then until you get smaller once you already got that established
Yeah, I
presence?
mean, like since you're like solo, right, your profit margins will be probably higher. But as you hire, you know, what I mean, you'll begin to decrease that. I would say like we're hovering around 30% right now, but we're like aggressively hiring just because we want to open up our books. And also, I will say this: we've done like a EMR transition, and anytime that happens, there's frustrations amongst the team, and
Of
you know, I'm
course.
just anticipating people leaving just because it's like, oh man, what's going on? And I'm like, hey guys, this is just for the benefit of us, right? So we can solve attribution, but bear with me.
Jordan,
Not
can
topic.
Uh,
Go ahead.
yeah, yes, Lisa, go ahead.
um if we're going to invest that much money in marketing, which sounds like, I mean, everything that we've talked about, I mean, we need to have a healthy marketing budget regardless of what we can afford, right? At this point, like we need
Um,
to invest in that. Is that a fair assessment?
I'm going to take it a step further because I would say like new people will be like, and I say new marketers will be like, yes. Here's my stance on that is let anytime you're starting a hypothesis, right, to be a little bit aggressive with ads or money, just to get the data. So strategic, right? So technically, like we can test our hypothesis with a lower budget, but it's just we'll get that data, you know, we have to wait to get that data a little longer. Can we afford that? Right. So really what I'm looking for is, okay, if my service is, this is just a mentality that we should have that should like point you in the right direction that I'm ready is like, all right, we have a $3,000 service. We have to spend at least, we have to be mentally willing to spend $3,000 to break even, to bring in one client, because that's not a loss. That's, I have the data that, okay, this type of content framework and this authority funnel is bringing people in at cost. Now I have the levers to tweak to decrease that to be profitable. Does that make sense?
Okay, so fair. So if I mean, I know what I need to bring in to pay for like my machine, etc. So I mean, I already know what those numbers need to be at. Obviously, I'm not hitting them. But if I was to invest in the marketing budget, like we're talking about, which is way more than I would ever have considered looking at, would doing it ourselves rather than having a professional do our ads for us at that number seems to suggest that would be a better investment of our time and funds. Because if I'm spending, like, even if I'm going to be spending, let's say, $3,000 a month on paid ads, and I'm doing ads that I've generated, that I've created, even based on what we've been talking about, if my ads aren't good enough, then I'm I feel like I'd be wasting that money.
Well, that depends on, I'll give you based off experience, right? There are many people in the premium group that are spending 5K for their agency, and their agency is like just touting vanity metrics, right? So in terms of like being cost effective, the reason why Aesthetic Bosses was born, I was like, hey, they are just viewing cost per lead as a driving metric when you guys have other things going on, right? Does that make sense? So me here trying to find the balance of like, okay, what is the most cost-effective thing for everyone here in this community is to most likely learn and just acknowledge the fact that most agency owners have never even stepped foot into a clinic. Do you see that battle that I'm trying to kind of fight here?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they don't know our business like we know our business and our guests and what they're
Right,
looking for. And they're
right.
just coming up with some pretty basic
campaigns,
you
right?
know,
So
yeah.
another thing would be like if you learned the marketing skill set and then you hired an agency, but you're dictating the strategy, and be like, because I'm dictating the strategy, you're going to lower your price. You know what I mean? Is a different story too, which I've seen happen.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. I follow you on that.
Yeah. Because I've seen many clinics crash and burn because like, oh my gosh, I partner with an agency. They keep on telling me like, oh, cost per lead's great. Shouldn't you be happy? No. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Okay.
All right. So how to guarantee you win? I'm going to reiterate this. You guys have been here. You guys are my OGs, right? So if you don't understand something, Google it first, right? When you figure it out, post it. Other people might have struggled with it and it benefits you. Here's a big thing. Actually do the 400 plus 50, right? As you begin to do it yourself, it's going to suck. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But as you profit, reinvest back into a rock star client coordinator or front desk staff for them to do it. Right? That's how we win. And one of the testimonials that I have, Dr. Zadie, she's doing 110K now. She started with me with 30K a month. And the second I was like, hey, we should get someone internally, not a VA from the Philippines to call, but someone here. That's when she saw exponential growth by following kind of this stuff. Yeah. Everything is exciting. It's the last day of the challenge, right? When the excitement wears off, that's when the real work begins, right? Everything is unscalable in the beginning. That's the point, right? It's how you learn every piece of it. It's called mastery. And once you've mastered it, now we can dictate if we do choose to outsource it, we can be like, oh, I'm hiring this agency. I'm dictating the plan. I just need the bodies to do it. Right. So now you could be like, take that. I don't know. Unless you like really want someone to take it over, right? Like and strategy, then that's when you would pay higher. But if you're dictating the strategy, here's the authority funnel concept. This is what I want you to do. I've already made the videos. Here it is. Launch the ads. Look at this, right? These are the KPIs that we need to be held accountable towards. Now it's almost like you've hired an internal marketer without even worrying about W-2 taxes and health insurance and stuff like that. Does that make sense? And then here's the secret, right? Many of the marketers have like just come off from a course, and these gurus are like, yo, charge 3K a month. But when you flat out say, hey, this is here's a counter offer. I'm going to dictate the strategy. You do this. I just need you to do this at $1,000 a month. They're going to say yes because they're trying to make a sale. Right? So that's how we become more profitable too. um, this is a joke, but if you complain, you're dead to me. Just kidding. So business is shockingly simple, but surprisingly hard, right? Comes from the form of consistency, and once you're consistent, comes easier. And the moment that you don't want to do it or just skip today is the day you realize what hard feels like. It is just all about overcoming. And everyone here is a CEO of their own life and business, right? That's how it goes. And we're problem solvers, right? We know that we need to build connections with our aesthetic clients. Once we have the process, we find out ways to get ourselves out of it, right? Me being CMO of a clinic, am I the one posting? No. You know what I mean? Am I the ones doing like the actual like nitty-gritty marketing initiatives? No, I'm dictating the strategy, right? That's value. So keep this in mind. If you're not getting leads, you're not doing the 400 plus 50. You're not generating sales, you're not building enough connections. If you're not growing, you're not addressing the 4 blockers. Do more of it, then do it better, then do something new. Does that make sense to everybody who has been in this challenge?
Definitely.
Yeah. Cool. So I'll ask this, right? Last 15 minutes here. What are some of the blockers that you have now? What's stopping you from growing your click now? Right? That I can remind you of what to do. So that way, after this challenge, you could be like, I know it. I got it. Let's do it. Anything like that.
Time and bodies. I need somebody to make my phone call.
Time and bodies. Yeah. Time and bodies. Block out the schedule, right? Block out
Yeah.
the schedule. You have more time than you think, right? 50 calls, acknowledging that a lot of people won't pick up, right? Just the nature of the beast. How many times do we get phone calls from numbers that we don't know? Just like, nope, right? But through repetition, 80% of our sales happens between the 5th and 12th touch point. This is how we have a compounding effect factoring in our downline. So the calls that we're doing now will pay dividends 3 months from now. Just know that. Right? Anything else like that? Are we all masters? Yeah.
I guess if I may, then again, I'm still struggling with the video creation part as far as really learning how to provide the best value for my clients. And again, choosing and knowing, hey, this is what I'm going to run now or run next as the ad, and guess figuring that out because you kind of briefly mentioned it of trying to do two different takes and then like as an example, male, female doing the same exact thing, but see which one goes better. But as
Yeah.
far as again, exact script. Like I'm personally really struggling with that because again, I'm just so camera shy that
Mm.
that's my roadblock. But I'm like, how do I get over that? And again, knowing exactly what to say.
Well, I think just talking to you personally, you've done ChatGPT, right? You've done
Yeah,
you've had the script. Have you filmed the script?
exactly.
Have you filmed it yet?
No, things
Yeah.
came up, but basically that was my other question is I'm not exactly happy with the script they gave me. So what would it be as far as how like I guess maybe is there any other courses or something you would recommend as far as hey, this is how you learn to use Chat GPT to its full potential?
Yeah.
Like even hey, power
Cheap.
phrases, use this, boom, boom.
Well, the cool thing about ChatGPT is like if the better you can say it as a human or treat it as a human, the better results you get. So quite frankly, it's I don't like this. Rewrite it.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
And
So again, maybe that's my also situations like I don't know how to give guidance when I don't exactly know what I want.
so
So
here's the repetitive thing. We don't know what we want because we haven't put it out into the market.
exactly. Well,
Right? So
that
how
too.
you get there is to create the video, post it, get the feedback, and then now it's the loop. Like, oh, I see it. It's physical. You know what I mean? In terms of the video that you provide. And also um, people are not gravitating towards it. So now I know at least not to do this same thing ever again.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one of the blockers now is like just overthinking. So now it's just take action, do more of it, then do it better, then do something new.
Okay.
Yeah.
Samuel, I'm just going to jump in and say, actually, when I've been watching you for the last 5 days, I thought that you've actually kind of come across as very, very personable. Like if you were to be standing there,
Yes.
just like talking like you are now, literally with a background and maybe wearing your scrubs or something,
Oh,
and talking just generally about, stuff that you do or results that you've seen, you would come across as very credible to me. Just
Thank
FYI
you,
on that.
Lisa.
Yeah,
thank
I
you,
I
get
think,
Lisa.
yeah, I don't think you need to get fancy. I think that just how you present
Thank
right
you.
now would be cool.
I
thank you again.
love it.
I'm a perfectionist, and again, when clients are through my door and I can talk to them face to face, I geek out and I love it. But again, at the
Yeah.
same time, it's just because I was talking about this with Jordan. Like I say too much and I often sell myself out of the sale. So again, going through his script is very much. I'm like, I gotta really learn to follow the script, have the client talk, you know,
Yeah.
take a step back on me. So again, thank you, but it's just I'm learning. I'm
Uh,
learning how to
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
better.
Uh,
as an over talker myself, I totally get that. But if you had a script you were following and you did some good editing, you could talk away for 10 minutes on video and then just take clips of that and use
Yeah.
that for the next 30 days. Like it would be
There you
cool
go.
for you. You'd be fine.
Yeah. This fills me
Hoping
with
for it.
joy. This fills me with joy. Thank you, Lisa, because I really want this to be a community. And I don't want to say your business, Samuel, but I said this to Samuel yesterday. I was like, you have a lot to give, man. Your natural presence, I think, would do good, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's nice to see someone else say it. So use that, Samuel, right? I want to see your first video. Post in the community, right? Because
Sure.
this is a safe spot. Maybe we'll give the guidance.
Please. I mean, like, is that like I'm doing almost everything else but that. So it's like I really need to do that because it's like I just made like super, I don't know if it's kind of blurring, but it's like I made super cool flyers and my face is all over it. But like I'm just
Right.
again so darn
Yeah.
camera shy about it. So I just gotta do it.
You just got to do it, right? And the community will give you guidance. How about that, right? Everyone on the
Sure.
call, post it. Here, keeping you accountable. Film it,
There
post
we
it.
go.
We'll give you the guidance, constructive criticism, then put it as the ad. How about that?
Perfect.
Cool.
Sounds like a plan.
Done deal. Tiffany, you started sharing, so I'm assuming you have a question, comment.
My comment was, I know this is day 5. I really do think it feels like a community, and that idea of sharing with other people that aren't like competitors but are encouragers, is like I think it's a really big thing. That's kind of golden.
Thank you. This is what I want. I appreciate the feedback, guys, and I hope you guys got some value. Right?
Could I add just one quick comment? Again,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I don't know if you guys have experience, but I know I have, especially when trying to get training or even exploring options. Like I don't know what to do. Like I'm brand new to this field. It's like everyone wants you to charge you to share their information, which I understand it's value. But when somebody is always like 100 here, 300 there, 1,000 there, it's like all that adds up. And I'm like, and I still feel like I've got nothing from my own personal thing. So again, I really love this community because yes, even though the paid subscription is paid, but I feel like it's worth it for the knowledge we gain because we're all open about our situations.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I think with me, like I don't feel like I hold too much back, right, in terms of the knowledge, but I know for a fact that what's helped me in terms of like paid is the accountability.
That too.
I think everyone here knows what to do. It's just
Doing it.
and then also we have like shiny object syndrome because I mean, at least for me, I got 2 kids to feed. So it's like I got to do this and that and that and that. But it helps when someone other than myself is like, hey man, this is what it is. You just got to keep the path. Does that make
Plus, it's
sense?
always changing too. There's always like new trends and new products, equipment, new services.
Yeah. So thank you for the feedback. Awesome, guys. Any last questions, comments? Good job in the challenge. Any last things like that before we end here?
Will the recordings, everything stay up for us for a little bit? And we want to go back and revisit, or how does that kind of work?
Forever. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like this community is a 5-day challenge. In the premium, we're working starting next week is the 90-day challenge. So that one is the paid community. Samuel, you're in there, so you're gonna get that. But for the people in this community, the 5-day challenge will be up forever.
How much is the 90-day challenge?